Jesus, a lobster can transmit urine signals up to 7 body lengths ahead of them. That's a solid stream. Welcome back to Show Me Yours podcast with Jackie and Johnny. My name's Jackie Agnew, and I promise I haven't done anything to Johnny. I know it's a little suspicious. Johnny isn't here again. It's okay. As we mentioned, he has some family stuff going on right now, so he has to be there right now. Shout out to Johnny and his family. Much love to them. The good news is that you and I get to have some alone time again. Please don't stop listening. I'll try to be more focused this time. I probably won't drink as much. I don't have the tools to make margaritas in front of me this time. I do have some tequila and orange juice, which is a lovely combination. I recommend it. It's pretty much a tequila sunrise minus the grenadine, which is kind of pointless in a tequila sunrise anyways. Who needs that much sweetness, right? I already got all the sweetness I need is within my soul. And yeah, this holds the rest of the Patron that I had left. So you guys better make it worth it. No, it's all right. It's on me. It's not on you guys. You guys are cool. But yeah, we got a good album today. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna try and get back to normal next week. Some things are out of our hand, and that's okay. But in the meantime, I already went over this. I swear I'm not drunk. I just have the short-term memory problems. Anyways, we have a great album to go over today. It is Born in the U.S.A. by Bruce Springsteen. Have you heard of him? This new up-and-comer called Bruce Springsteen. I think it's Bruce Springsteen. Yeah, it's Bruce Springsteen, Born in the U.S.A. As you see the iconic album behind me, I'm sure most of you have heard or at least heard of this album. I picked this album today because it was a last minute decision. I'm sure Johnny would have liked to have talked about it. I know he's not like a huge Springsteen guy, but you know what? There wasn't much rhyme or reason behind this decision. I'm going to be honest with you guys about that one. But I do love the Springsteen and I love this album. That's why I chose it. I was just kidding before. I always have a reason for my actions. I'm a logical person. Anyways, but before we get into all that, how are you guys? How has your week been? You know what would make your week better and my week better is if you hit that lovely subscribe button. If you're watching on YouTube, click that thumbs up, click that little bell. It'll notify you whenever we upload a new episode, which is every Monday. If you don't know already, then mark it in your calendars. And leave a comment. You know, all of this stuff, I know it seems silly and we repeat it every week, but it's actually super helpful. So yeah, do whatever you can wherever you're listening. Please subscribe. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, give us a 5-star review. Do all the things. You know what to do. We really appreciate you tuning in and you coming along for the ride. Any suggestions? Hey, if you want to request an album, leave it in the comment section. If you want a shout out, weekly shout out to Martin. That wasn't intentional. Yeah, weekly shout out to old Martin. If you want a shout out, just leave it in the comments. Let us know. We'll give you one. And most importantly, if you want to come watch us do live stand-up comedy in person and you are in the Vancouver area, we run a weekly show in Kitsilano at King's Head Pub. It's 8 p.m. every Tuesday. Tickets are only $10. Link to those tickets is in the description. Come on out, watch us do comedy. Come say hi. It's always a good time. We have great comics on every week. And yeah, just come have fun. Meet us in person. We'll fucking take a selfie. Shout us out on your Instagram stories. That's the other thing you should do. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, all that good stuff. I know, it's getting old. We repeat this every week. But you know what? I need to be reminded about things a lot, and I assume others do as well. So we're in this together. But before we dive in to this album we got today, let's go over some stories. You know, some stories in the news. First of all, this isn't really much of a story. It is just a fun fact, I guess, a fun discovery. Do you know the language of lobsters? Do you? I don't think you do, because, you know, we know that these animals, obviously, they communicate with each other for purposes of mating and other necessary actions. But until recently, we did not know how lobsters communicated. So how do you think lobsters talk to each other? They pee in each other's faces. Yes, very good. That is how lobsters communicate. They piss on each other. Isn't that crazy? Basically, the way this works is all very scientific. They when they take a little whiz, there are pheromones obviously involved. And these pheromones, there's a lot of words in here that I don't understand at all. They produce pheromones, and then they go into the urine stream. And American lobsters, or Homarus americanus, there's no way that that's the Latin name for American lobsters. Homarus americanus. I mean, cool. So they pee out of their antennae. Yeah, those little those are their piss their piss pistols. They're pistols. They're pee pistols. Those are where they pee, where they go pee pee. And they inject. It's injected into this gill, and it projects the urine forward. And Jesus, a lobster can transmit urine signals up to 7 body lengths ahead of them. That's a solid stream. That's a fucking... I wish I could pee 7 body lengths. That would be fucking crazy. Could you imagine? I mean, logistically, it would work better, like, if you are in possession of a penis. And you can kind of direct. For me, it would just kind of go like 7. How would that work? Maybe I can pee 7 body lengths, but I just don't know, because I've never like peed like out into the universe, you know? It always just goes down. Maybe if I tried to pee, just like project it like, pow, it would go fucking... What's a body length too? What's like the average? Is it a human body length? Or a lobster body length? It's got to be lobster, right? That would be crazy. A lobster can pee 7 human body lengths, whatever the average size of a human is. I have no fucking idea. Like 5, 6, 7. That's short, right? I'm 5'2". So I'm below average. I don't know what's like an average. It's below 6 feet. It's in the upper 5s, I guess. Imagine 7 upper 5 lengths. Jesus Christ, just a fucking solid piss stream. I wonder if like my piss stream had like the power of a drill. It would go 7 body lengths into the ground if I were peeing outside in this scenario. this is all this is gonna have me thinking for a while. How far can you pee? You know, I like peeing outdoors personally. Feels more natural. The key is to get into a full like squat, you know? You can't just like you can obviously, but if you're just like in like a sitting position, then it's going to be tough on the quads, right? And sometimes you've been driving for a while, you got a solid stream in you, and you want to do like full like fucking yoga squat and just fucking let it go. Like, you know, like the legs up. You know, some cultures give birth in that position. I like to pee in that position. I feel like that's the thing. Isn't that what's the thing that people get, like squatty potties? The thing that you can get where you put your feet up on the stool in front of your toilet, and it kind of simulates that shape, and so you can go pee pee and poo poo more easily. That sounded so weird. Why do words sound so much creepier when you say them twice? But yeah, that's how I like to pee outdoors. I mean, like, obviously I don't seek out peeing outdoors. It's not like I have to pee. I fucking walk outside and I have like a piss corner outside our door. I mean, hilarious. I should start doing that. But but you know, if I'm in a situation where, say, it's between like behind a tree or in like a public washroom, I would rather go behind a tree. Does that make sense? I feel like I've told stories about peeing in public before on the podcast. Yes, we won't go back into it, but personally, I guess if you had to pee 7 body lengths though, that would make peeing outside a lot more fucking complicated. If you're fucking trying to be subtle about it and you're like hiding behind a tree, and all of a sudden this fucking piss stream, fucking 7 fucking what let's say fucking 35, 40 foot long piss stream just fucking fires out from behind this tree. It would be hard to cover up. Hilarious though. But yeah, these are how these lobsters communicate. They piss on each other. So that's just like an interesting story, a recent discovery, I suppose, something for us all to marinate on. Yeah. How do other animals communicate? How do other animals pee? Can all animals pee? I mean, like, not. I think most animals urinate, yes. But I mean, do they all pee like long lengths like that? Fascinating. The other story, I got 2 more, all right? You see, because it's harder with one person, I can't ask questions to my co-host. So it's easier just to kind of pontificate on a few stories up top. And then we'll go over stuff with the album. You guys know, you know the drill. You've been here before. We've all been here. Let's move on to the next one. A Japanese teacher was suspended after being caught using a colleague's toothbrush more than 20 times. Yeah, more than 20. You know, 20 is like the limit for how many times I'll let a colleague use my toothbrush. But when it gets to more than 20, then I gotta let them know what's up. So the Board of Education announced on March 16th that a 51-year-old teacher at a public junior high school in Shunan, Yamaguchi Prefecture had been suspended for 3 months for repeated inappropriate behavior, including impulsively putting his colleague's toothbrush into his mouth about 20 times. 3 months? What the fuck? If this fucking dude impulsively put my toothbrush in his mouth 20 times and then just came back 3 months later like nothing happened. What the fuck do they think is going to change in 3 months? If this guy has lost control of his impulses to the extent that he puts a colleague's toothbrush in his mouth 20 times, they think that shit's going to be solved in 3 months? There's no fucking way. This guy's just biding time. He's fucking biting other toothbrushes. There's lots of mouth room for lots of toothbrushes to put in that mouth in the meantime, before he returns to the scene of this particular crime. According to the education board, the instructor visited a school nurse's office 30 times without authorization between early September and late November in 2021. Each time at roughly 5 a.m., he went through the room's desk and drawers, putting the nursing teacher's toothbrush in his mouth around 20 times. All right. So this wasn't just like one time this guy, he was having a rough day. Maybe he was off his meds. I don't know. I don't want to assume. This guy lost control of his impulses one day, goes into the office early in the morning before anyone's there, repeatedly sticks this toothbrush in his mouth. Okay, that's one thing. He did this shit 30 times. Okay, and then, so 10 of those times, he didn't put the toothbrush in his mouth. What did he do those other 10 times? Or did he put the toothbrush in his mouth 20 times each of the 30 times? This story is spiraling out of control. So he did this fucking 30 times in 3 months between September and November. And they think that this behavior is just going to stop if they give him a slap on the wrist, 3 month suspension, no big D. No, there's no fucking way that this guy is going to stop putting toothbrushes in his mouth. This 30 times? That's so many times. At 5 a.m. This guy got up early to do this shit. He fucking set an alarm, was like, fuck, I gotta get there now, because if I don't, then I'm not gonna be able to do the toothbrush thing. Why not stick your own toothbrush in your mouth, homeboy? Why don't you buy a fresh toothbrush and leave it somewhere weird so you can kind of convince yourself that it's someone else's? If that's your thing, you get off on sticking other people's toothbrushes. Toothbrushes? I don't know. Which one do you think it is? If you get off on sticking teeth brush in your mouth, then why wouldn't you sticking other people's toothbrush in your mouth? Why don't you buy a freshie, stick it somewhere weird, somewhere at work perhaps, where you can kind of tell your mind that it's still like kind of dangerous. I don't know, maybe that just doesn't do the trick. Maybe he tried that and he outgrew it. But 3 months and he's back at it. The school nurse noticed something was wrong, mainly the wet toothbrush. And set up a video camera in the sick room which captured the male teacher's inappropriate behavior multiple times. Shout out to this nurse. She fucking took things into her own hands. She's like, okay, my toothbrush has been wet, and this is about the 20th time I've noticed. I'm gonna set up a camera in this room and catch this motherfucker for myself. Fucking props. And then, okay, I'm gonna finish the story. The teacher, the toothbrush bandit, was quoted saying, "I got carried away with an impulse to put someone's toothbrush into my mouth. I felt close to the nursing teacher." Okay. I don't know what to do with any of this information. I mean, like, I don't, if the impulses, they're impulsive, they're, sometimes you can't control these things, and I don't want to put past judgment, but there are also boundaries. And if you notice, this is my problem. He's trying to make himself out to be a victim here. I got carried away with an impulse. And I felt close to this person, so I thought that she would be the one who might be okay with it. You get carried away with an impulse once. Okay. Shit happens. You go home, you feel weird about it. You're like, I can't fucking do this shit in my place of work. I gotta get a hold on it. Not this guy. Fucking homeboy over here lets it go 19 more times until he is caught on camera because the toothbrush owner noticed the wetness. He did it so many times that she noticed the wetness on her toothbrush. Ugh. I don't want anyone to stick their toothbrush in my mouth. I don't let Johnny use my toothbrush. Not that he's asked, but like if it came up, I mean, like if he really, you do what you do for the people you love. I wouldn't be happy about it. I would let him use it, and then I would buy. If we were in this crazy scenario where where Johnny needed a toothbrush immediately, and he could not go out and purchase a toothbrush for himself, I would use mine first one more time, then let him use it, and then I would buy myself a new toothbrush. I don't want to be sharing teeth brush. What, like, I can't imagine sharing a toothbrush. I really can't. That's gross. It's just icky. Like, even people you're close with, family, you don't want people's mouth. That's even weirder with family, to be honest. You don't want your family's mouth gunk in your mouth gunk. But yeah, that's not true. I was going to say, I also wouldn't bring my toothbrush to work, but you know what? I used to have a job where you had to work fucking 12, 15 hours a day. Sometimes it's necessary. Don't stick other people's toothbrush in your mouth. I'm just like baffled that this guy only got fucking 3 months suspension. Like, what the fuck is, I just can't possibly imagine how this could be solved in that amount of time and how this is gonna sway his behavior. He just got a fucking 3-month vacation. Not bad. You know, maybe I should start sticking people's toothbrush in my mouth. You know, if it gets you 3 months off, fuck yeah. I'll do that all day, every day. Fucking 20 plus times. Until you catch me. You can't catch this. You can't catch that. You can't catch the toothbrush bandit in your mouth. But they caught him, so that doesn't. This guy's a fucking step it up, fucking X-lax. Do you remember that insult? X-lax, smooth move, X-lax. Yeah, this guy. I mean, shout out to the nurse, boss bitch over there. The school board, I think, could have done better. 3 months, just move him to a new school, get him some. I mean, okay. Let's look at both sides here. To be fair, if he was just fired for this, maybe that's not fair. Personally, I'm just thinking from the nurse's perspective, the victim, the toothbrush victim. I don't know if I would be comfortable with this guy coming back to work. I certainly would stop bringing my toothbrush to school in that case. But even still, it would be kind of weird. I wouldn't be comfortable working with this dude again, even if it once was 3 months later. But is it too harsh to move him to another school? It's not, it doesn't really solve the problem. To get him to just fire him outright and say he can never work again, that is maybe too harsh. If this is a mental health problem, which it fucking clearly is. I don't think that's an if. No hate. But to be fair, there's probably something more going on here, and so maybe I'm being too harsh. Maybe, I mean, I don't know. There's not a lot of details here, but maybe the solution is 3 months off, and then he has to work at a different school when he comes back. That's what I would suggest to this Yamaguchi prefecture Education Board. That's my 2 cents. Take it or leave it. Take it or leave it. Yeah, okay. And so this final story, this is the one I'm most excited about. How are you guys? I keep like thinking I want to have a conversation, but I'm talking to myself right now. That's just I'm so alone. No, I'm cool. But you guys aren't giving me anything. Did you not learn last time? I need some back and forth here, okay? I'm kidding. You guys are fine. Am I being like too aggressive? Am I being too aggressive with you guys? I'm totally kidding. You know this is all in jest. I love you guys. Thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Moving on. Final story. My quads are so sore. That hurt like a bitch. I did my leg. It was leg and booty day in the old Jackie workout regimen yesterday. And yeah, now my legs are sore. Now you know. Okay. Final story. A company is offering let's start that again. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. You know, Johnny always says that I don't ever fart. Which honestly is not true. Between you and me. He just doesn't know when I do it. But but I am a burper, as you guys have probably noticed. Anyways, from the top. Did you guys ever watch High School Musical? I super into it. That just reminded me of the Sharpay and her brother, you know, the that's what I needed right then. Honestly, I mean, High School Musical 1, classic. We all love it. Troy Bolton, heartbreaker. For me, anyways. High School Musical 2, honestly, kind of like it better. It's more fun. It's playful. They're at the fucking country club. They're all swimming. Troy's dance through the golf course. Oh my god. Bet on it, bet on it, bet on it. I have a fucking sticker of Troy Bolton in the golf course. Iconic. If you know the scene I'm talking about, fucking leave a comment. We're homies for life. Love that series. High School Musical 3, bit of a disappointment. You know, I remember it was exciting because it was released in theaters. The first two, they were just like TV movies. But then by the third, they had built up such a big following. It was in theaters. Me and my best friend Shelby, shout out, we saw it in theaters. We see Troy and Gabriella kiss for the first time, I think. Or maybe not. We'd probably seen them kiss before. Why do I think that was a thing where we hadn't seen them kiss until the third movie? Was that a thing? Because I feel like that was made into a big deal that we finally see them kiss. Anyways, we know they were banging. I don't really remember what happens in High School Musical 3, though. Like, I don't remember any of the songs. It never really stuck with me. 1 and 2, though, fucking bangers. All right, moving on. A company is offering their employees a company I've spoiled it. A company is offering their employees masturbation breaks complete with wank pods and VR. Yeah, it's an adult website called Strip Chat. And they're offering a new perk to its employees where they have masturbation breaks during work hours with custom-built wank pods and VR headsets. Custom-built? Like customized to the person? Or is they just mean that they've built these, that they didn't buy pre-existing wank pods? Okay. It's an adult website and social network. It employs 200 people. There's 4 high-tech wank pods that will be located at the company's Cyprus office and will be equipped with an Oculus Quest VR headset and 4K LED screen to watch X-rated films on the masturbation breaks. Okay. So many questions. They employ 200 people and they only have 4 wank pods. Are you kidding me? There's no fucking way. They're going to have to fucking line up. You have to fucking line up for the wank pod, and then you have to walk out and just see all the fucking lineup of people that were just waiting for you. Look, I love where this is going, but my first note is more. Give me more. Give me more. In addition to the high-tech features, the large black spherical pods will have a comfortable chair, important, lotion, lube, and the requisite tissues. I mean, they're taking care of their employees. What's not to love about that? I mean, yeah, fuck yeah. I wonder if they have like... No, because I was going to say I wonder if they have like toys and shit in there, but I feel like then that would get to a hygiene issue. Though it might already be like a... How are these wank pods? How is the cleanliness being maintained? Because if someone, a coworker, is masturbating in this pod, and then they leave, and then you go and just whack off in that pod where someone else just blew their load. I mean, how do you know that they've cleaned up after themselves? How do you know? I mean, the VR headset could be contaminated. I have a lot of. Do they have like fucking wank cleaners? Are there fucking designated wank? Oh fuck! I think Johnny's here. And we're back. Sorry about that, but we're back to regularly scheduled programming. Where was I on these wank pods? Okay. In addition, oh wait, no. We covered this. We covered the tissues and the lube and all of that. Okay, Strip Chat is offering its employees 30-minute breaks to use the masturbation pods, and says that it wants to provide current and attract new employees with a safe, comfortable space to rub one out. I have someone here who has some thoughts on this.
Oh my goodness. Hello. Oh, hopefully the levels are good.
I think it should be fine.
If you're going to give me a 30-minute break to masturbate,
yeah,
then I'm going to get it done like 14 times. Honestly, what do you think that they're doing in the pod for the next...
Well, so that's what
Hi, everybody. I'm back. It's been a heavy day.
But
I'm excited to be here.
He's joining us for the end of this episode.
Yes, I am. Thank you for holding it down again.
Yeah. He got home when I was in the middle of talking about the wank pods.
I was fascinated by it. I honestly feel like you kept some of that information from me. Like,
I just found out this story when I was looking shit up before I recorded this.
No, that's fair, but I feel like we've had wank pods like in this home.
Yeah.
In this home since we've moved into it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I feel like you didn't even know.
This whole home is a wank pod.
It really is. It really is. Sometimes it's the morning and I got to go to work. And there's just a couple minutes before I leave the room. And you know what I mean? If you got to get down, then you got to get down. Mm-hmm. But, you got to get up to get down, they always say.
Yeah. My question is, if you take a break in the middle of your work day, is this something... If I'm going to wank it, then it's like a whole like vibe. Like I can't imagine going back to work after
Jackie,
that.
The day that I've fucking had today, and now I'm coming here to talk about like, it's not like the vibe that you create. Like, have you ever masturbated on shift?
No, that's what I'm saying. Is that I can't imagine going back to work after that.
Nobody's ever paid you to masturbate on the... Okay, so these stories are going to get weird. I was a bellboy at the Best Western.
Right.
And I had access to every room. Right. That was there, like a master key. Mm-hmm. And in the event that maybe a heating element wasn't working, or like a toilet was running too loud or something like that, and the customer was or like whoever was staying the night, was annoyed by it.
Right.
It was a very old hotel, so
Yeah.
all the maintenance staff would go home at like 4:00.
Yeah.
So when I would be there working like the late shift, nice. If I had to move any of these people,
yeah.
then I just knew that I would just have to move them to a different room where everything worked.
Right.
And then the maintenance staff wouldn't be there until the following morning.
Mm-hmm.
That means that nobody's going to be in that room.
Yeah.
For the remainder of the shift.
Yeah.
And oh boy.
Okay, but this is different because I'm imagining this is like an office
yes,
setting.
Yes. This is from what I gather. I've just only been here for a minute, but from what I gather, this is like a time that you can go. The weird thing is that there's you said there was like a lot of employees.
There's 200 employees and 4 pods. So that's what I was getting into. It's like, are they lined up? You go in, have your 30 minutes, you come out, you see everyone lined up. Like, and you just get back, you sit down in your cubicle, everyone knows where you just were. Like, you just had
like
your
a doctor's office, how they have like that little plastic thing that has like the files in it.
Yeah.
Like, so like if you walk out and you put like the magazine in it and the guy has to like pick from like the 3 magazines and go in.
Yeah.
Super weird. I think it's going to be more of like a weird thing. Even I've only worked in one office, and when I did, you didn't necessarily make like a point of like announcing that you're like getting up and going anywhere.
Yeah.
But if you were gone for 30 minutes and you come back, you know what I mean?
They're taking their wank break.
But somebody kind of knows like either what you're doing. Also, I worked at a film school too, so I could be checking out sets and you know what I mean, like different you know, kind of like areas in the in the building and on campus. So if that was you know what I mean, I definitely had like opportunities,
right?
You know what I mean, to like sneak away. But if you have to jerk off in the middle of the day,
right,
when you're at work,
but this is it bears mentioning that they are like a porn site. Oh, so they're working with. I mean, I guess it makes sense in that case. They're getting them kind of hyped up, but it is weird.
Well, do you think you're hot and bothered because like
or if it's just
working at a film school, like, you know, or even going to film school or whatever, if you don't like retain your like love for film or love for like television and like the way that you enjoy it, then like it kind of like loses, you know, some of it, right?
Yeah,
like, if you,
exactly.
Like, we're watching bad movies, like you can, you know, you can see the way that it was written and you know what I mean, all the like the tropes that kind of come through and stuff like that, and it becomes like kind of cookie cutter, right? So I imagine for pornography it would be exactly the same too, and the cutting and editing and whatever, you know what I mean, that comes down with like promotion and stuff like that. So if you're constantly looking at tits, would you want to go there, or is everybody that's working there hyper horny and they just have been like jerking off in the bathroom already? And
like they said that in these pods there's VR headsets, and then there's also 4K screens that play like porn and shit.
Whoa, that's too much,
right?
Because then you give somebody a half an hour in there. That's just like that's too much. Like that's
exactly. And then it's like I was thinking about what is the cleaning situation. Like, is it just one person finishes up and then another person goes in? Do they have people sweep through?
Well, this was a classic topic brought up in a Kevin Smith movie where they're just talking about, like, you know what I mean, the you know, what does a jizz mopper make hourly? You know what I mean? Like in a spank booth or whatever, everybody's going to, you know, bust on the glass, right? Like, how much do you make? How much does a jizz mopper make? Right. You know what I mean? I hope enough, but at the same time, too, like, I don't think any, like, the term unskilled labor, right? I don't, you know, it kind of like irks me a little bit. Yeah. But there's definitely, you know what I mean, tiers to the, you know, like I can't hire somebody to do what I can do as far as plumbing is concerned without the years of experience, you know what I mean, and the knowledge that comes behind it. But with mopping jizz, you know what I mean, maybe if there's no streaks left on the glass, if he's a really good one, then hopefully it'll be, but you know what I mean, I can't imagine it'd be enough to, like, you know, feed a family.
Right, but I'm like thinking, like, in terms of between each person that's in this pod, do they have someone come in between each time?
I would hope
How do they stagger these breaks?
I hope that it would be like a bathroom at like a really nice strip club where there's just like a bathroom attendant in there.
Yeah.
And you just got to be like, hey, how you doing? And he's just like, he's letting you do your business.
Knocks on the door at the 25-minute mark.
Yep, just let you know, hey, like we're, you know, clock's counting down.
Rounding up, rounding down.
And I wonder if the company is that stringent. Like, if you go overtime, then does that come off your next visit, or to the thing?
Well, I mean, I think it would just be a standard break.
Well,
you
if you
know,
go
like
30,
a lunch break.
But like, say you go 32 minutes in there, the next time you come in, does it count that, and you get 28 minutes in there the next day?
Do you have to clock into the wank pod?
Jackie, this is like this. It's been like the fact that I'm sitting here having this conversation right now is kind of blowing my mind. But that's the show. This is why, like, this is why I love you. This is why we do this show. This is fantastic. the transition of my day has gone from 0 to 100. And I'm just going to sit here and be real with you. Probably masturbated at where, and I've had a million different jobs.
Right.
So like in different contexts.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
I'm going to say 5 times, maybe a handful of times.
At work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like on the shift. And like one time was when I worked, when I lived like a block away from my job site.
Right.
So I'd go home to like for lunch. You know what I mean? And I'll count even that one as like crank, but that's like a hangover.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's a few things that can get you through like a hangover. And for me personally, it's like weed, greasy meal, you know what I mean? And blasting one off.
Right.
And then you can like get through like your day, but that's like that's a heavy day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm saying like in my, you know, even 10 years of plumbing and probably like 5 years working like as many random jobs as you can. But, you know, I never, like when I was selling shoes at Sport Check, never went to crank down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When I was pumping gas at Chevron, I never went to crank down.
It changes the vibe of your work day.
Really does. It depends
like
on how close you're working with somebody
from
and stuff.
like sexy mode and then having to like go and sit back down at your desk.
Super weird. Well, no, see, Jackie, that's the difference is like when you crank down, it's you get into sexy mode. When I crank down, it's animalistic. I'm looking up the worst possible thing that I can find because it's just like, how are we going to like crack this off?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like as fast as possible, right? It's completely utilitarian at that point.
Of course.
And nothing to be proud of.
Right.
So when you go back, it's not necessarily like next time. I think it's even worse.
Right.
Because then you come back to your senses and you're like, I have 4 more hours that I have to work here.
That's the
and
thing.
Like that's what I just did in the bathroom. That's disgusting. Like I'm a piece of shit.
And that's the thing. It's like on the surface, like I'm all for this, but like in reality, I don't know if I would really like that in my work day, in like the work environment, to see like your coworkers like coming back from their fucking wank break.
Or the guy at the desk next to you is just a fucking hothead. He'll just like throw a mouse across the room and shit like that. And then like after lunch he comes back like
it'd be weird. But like again, like this is like a sexual company anyways, but in like a normal work environment it'd be weird to bring that energy into the office.
Exactly.
You know, you don't want to think like about, for the most part, you don't want to think about your colleagues in that way.
A place of business is a place of business. I think like there's friends of mine that work with like now that like marijuana's been like, you know, legalized and stuff like that, you know, they work in like offices and stuff like that. My mom applied for an office job at one of these like marijuana places and they make it very clear. Yeah. You know what I mean? Just because we deal in that kind of stuff, that's not the vibe of it's a place of business, right? Exactly. Yeah. You know, so like the fact that they're kind of doing this kind of encourages that behavior. Yeah. But at the same time they're kind of handcuffed, being like, you know, we're enticing you like into this kind of thing. I don't know the kind of person that would like apply to work at. Like if you're working in porn and you're not in front of the camera or you're not on set, you know what I mean, in some weird way,
you're editing and shit.
Then like there's might be like some
or if it's just like
I don't want to I don't want to sit here and cast aspersions and say that that's the type of person that would maybe get this job or whatever. But hey, like if that's the rub. Yeah. And then that's the rub, and then you got to go and rub one out. Then then whatever, right? I'm not necessarily here to judge, but I am saying that's fucking wild. And where do I sign up?
Yeah, I mean, like all for wank pods. That's what I was trying to figure out. I don't know if this is like an American company. Okay. It says there. It's called Strip Chat. Sure. And it just says there's a Cyprus office. I don't know where Cyprus is. Not like BC. Not like that. Not like Cypress Mountain.
I'm having illusions.
But yeah. Okay. That's those are the wank pods.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. Shall we
what album are you doing?
Talk about the album quickly and then wrap this up. It's Born in the U.S.A.
Okay. All right. We got Bruce's butt.
So this is the 7th studio album by Bruce Springsteen, released on June 4th, 1984.
In the U.S.A. Yeah. Can you tell? Because I don't know anything about this except for like my mom loves it.
Yeah, so it's recorded with his E Street Band.
Cool.
Obviously, massive commercial success. Produced 7 top 10 singles.
And like 40 truck commercials.
Yeah, became obviously his most commercially successful album. Sure. One of the highest selling records of all time. As of 2012, it had sold 30 million copies, and that was 10 years ago.
So probably not much more since then?
Yeah, okay. That's the thing. Cited as one of the greatest albums of all time. It's kind of where he took a departure from his earlier stuff, kind of embraced a more mainstream, like upbeat sound.
What was Bruce doing before this, if you don't mind me
asking? More
asking?
kind of down, like it's still kind of the same the same sound, but more, I guess, heavy is the best way. It doesn't like, this is more poppy, this is more catchy and stuff. But the lyrical content and themes are the same. I
feel like if I told him that I'm a plumber with 10 years experience, he'd get hard. Like, he's a blue collar guy, right?
Well, we'll get into that. So it's very classic, like American rock, reminiscent of like the early 60s. He was kind of bringing it back. It's also kind of like a great like encapsulation of the era that this was released in 1984, Reagan era in the States. And so on the surface, like very glossy, very upbeat, happy, but then if you go deeper, listen to the lyrics, there's a lot of anger and like bitterness.
Jesus Christ,
and it's kind of just telling
there was an epidemic going on.
Yeah, kind of just telling like darker stories, but it has like this veneer of upbeat, catchy tunes.
That's good art shit. Cool.
People thought that this cover was showing him pissing on the flag, and so it had a bunch of controversy. And
cool.
He denied it. He said that was unintentional. We took a lot of different types of pictures, and in the end, the picture of my ass looked better than the picture of my face. Hey. Which is fair.
Good save. For a guy that sells tickets in middle America, you want to get away from that. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, and there's also the thing with this album that's kind of complicated is that there's an argument to be made that it's so like they did so well with this cover of very upbeat poppy rock songs that it almost overshadows too much the lyrical content.
Johnny on lyrics, I'm a big fan of that kind of stuff, but I also feel like the tone kind of
it's hard not to get caught
pushes
up
that
in
things
it.
forward. Yeah, so I probably shied away a lot of these things because they probably, you know what I mean, like radio smash hits or something that's so like I feel like Bruce Springsteen is like a synonym for classic rock. You know what I mean, which is like which is fine and a lot of people love it or whatever, but I always felt like I was looking for something like a little bit deeper or a little bit heavier meaning or something that kind of like, you know.
Yeah, well that's the thing is that his lyrics, like he has pretty like radical at the time, very radical politics. Like he's a very
normally I do the homework. Sorry for the flashes. I just kind of jumped in halfway through.
But that's the thing is that with this, and especially the title track, which we'll get into, is that it's almost it's not too much because it's doing its job, but it does it sounds, because it's so catchy, so classic rock, you don't listen to the actual like words that he's saying, and it overshadows like what the actual message of the album is.
Well, yeah, I think Born in the U.S.A. is such
and especially with the American flag and all the imagery and shit, which was intentional. But
I'll go to like when I go to Vegas, I'll stay like on Fremont Street, and they'll have you know what I mean, just like stages set up and just at random hours, you know, cover bands or whatever are doing that. When they do like Born in the USA, you can feel it, you know what I mean? And it never feels like I'm like, oh, this is the, you know what I mean? The working class anthem to me that, like, you know what I mean? Those Dillinger 4 songs are.
Yeah. And so this album kind of helped like popularize like American like heartland rock that allowed other artists have greater success, like Tom Petty, John Cougar Mellencamp, Bob Seger, that whole kind of era of rock. This kind of like ushered that in. Springsteen has said he kind of has mixed feelings about the album. He says the title track kind of just stood by itself. It could always have been a hit single, but the rest of the album contains a group of songs about which I've always had some ambivalence. But at the same time, he recognized that it had a huge effect on his career. It skyrocketed him to success and brought him a larger audience.
Is that the artist inside of him going, oh shit, like this might not have been like the...
And he said like it made him kind of going forward question the way he presented his music, made him think more about how he was doing things.
I feel like having the way that he's kind of doing him stuff, like his I'm not going to say doing his stuff now or whatever. I mean, obviously he's been around for decades and decades. But the E Street Band now has Tom Morello as one of the lead guitarists in it, and I believe, was it Born in the USA when like Trump was trying to come out to rock
so
anthems
we'll get
that
into
some
that.
people so like I mean they're definitely like left leaning like politics and stuff like that, which you know, is interesting because of the you know,
so
like when I think of Bruce Springsteen, I think of, you know, like lifted trucks in the
so
like
that's
the country and shit.
So the title track, Born in the USA, is probably one of the most misunderstood songs in popular music. The chorus has like this positive, like patriotic anthem feel, but the lyrics kind of are talking about the difficulties and marginalization of the working class Vietnam veterans once they returned to their country, all like the shit they had to face. And the verses
like he tried to write Fortunate Son, but he wrote like too good of a chorus.
Yeah, well, it's like the verses in the song kind of mock the chorus of the song.
I think that's the brilliance of it, but like I mean, it probably overshadowed. I guess now I saw it after. Okay,
and because of this, it's become like a very popular song for politicians to play at rallies and, you know, campaign speeches and whatnot, because they just hear the chorus, which is like funny. But do you think this like kind of takes away from the greater meaning and like power of the song? Like, is it still powerful art even if it's misunderstood, or does it make it like even more kind of poignant that the people he's criticizing use it for their anthems because they don't actually understand? They're not actually listening to what he's saying.
Well, I think that's like I mean, like, yes and no, right? I think like the answer to that question is like a little bit in both hands. Like I mean, obviously I think it does give like a little bit more power like to a song maybe that you've always loved or whatever. If somebody kind of like, I hate to watch the news and just be like reminded that I'm right. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to watch something that kind of like solidifies like my beliefs already or whatever. But if you're listening to, but I think with music, it's a different thing, right? So if you're listening to music and it's kind of like adopted by maybe like the wrong group of people or something, and then the group speaks out against that, then I mean, then it'll add like a little more validity to the artist and a little bit more of, you know, I think like juice to the song or whatever. And like, you know what I mean? I think all that stuff like comes with like your respect for the artist and how, you know what I mean, that whatever piece of particular art, you know what I mean, makes you feel or whatever. But I think if it stands, cause I think on the other side of that, when you, like there's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of like rock and metal music and stuff like that. I think Pantera is a really good example. Pantera is a very influential metal band, very popular metal band, one of my brother's favorite bands of all time. And I think that, you don't get the metal that you have now, I think, without like those slow like chug riffs, like da 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 da, you know what I mean? A lot of that like heavy kind of stuff, you know, came from that. And like musically you can, you know, you love that. But then when Phil Anselmo, the lead singer for, you know, that band, gets up and he starts screaming fucking racial slurs on stage, you know, and you're just like, fuck, then you have to, you know what I mean? Right. And then you have to kind of position yourself and like, well, how does this make you feel? And I mean, I'm not like a huge metal guy, so like it's not like I'm like I have to, you know, draw a hard line in the sand. But definitely when I'm in the truck with my brother, you know what I mean, and we're just like listening to, you know, the songs of our youth, you know what I mean, that becomes like an issue, right? So if those artists can speak up, you know, and speak out against it, then I think it does make the song like a little bit better. But at the same time too, that's the reason why we do this show and stuff like that. Like we're the kind of ones that, you know, that feel about that shit.
Yeah,
right. I think on a general landscape, maybe most people might not recognize it or care.
Yeah, well, I think like as an artist, I'm sure it'd be frustrating for like right wing politicians to use this as your anthem. But at the same time, for those who get the song, it's kind of like an inside joke.
I think that like, that's the best part.
Are you listening to the lyrics that you're blasting out to your fucking rally?
If you could be tongue in cheek, especially because like a lot of you know, when politicians like hit the stage, they're almost like they're not performers. You know what I mean? They don't know how to like rock a crowd or like do anything. So like they get up there and they're moving to like that music, and they're like and like, you know, it like kind of like doing like awkward movements and stuff like that. And I don't think if it's even on the left or on the right. Like I think that a lot of like, you know, music in its sense, like I don't like to. I mean, obviously, there's like left-wing politics like involved or whatever, but like a Rage Against the Machine album doesn't come with like a sticker for the Democratic Party. You know what I mean? Like a lot of it is like, you know what I mean? Kind of like, you know, fuck all these people or whatever. So I would really like if he spoke out like, none of this music can be used out of, you know, any political, you know, function or something like that. But then it takes away, you know what I mean? But you can't do that either, right? But when somebody speaks out, I think for the right reason, then, you know, it'll do that. And I would honestly, I would like it more if he let them use it for like a particular period of time and then picked like a better spot to dunk on them.
Yeah, and
You
I
know
think
what I
it
mean?
kind of just like proves his point too, like the whole like idea of just like making the surface level of things very catchy and
Sure.
fun and whatever, and then if you don't listen to the deeper meaning, like you miss everything that's actually going on. So it kind of just like proves his point, I think.
I think that's music in a nutshell too.
Yeah.
Like I think I'll have a hard time. I can't listen to a lot of like, you know, music that I love in a room full of people or whatever because I just remember how much I love those lyrics, how much those lyrics mean to me.
Yeah.
You know, so a lot of people are just kind of there to have a good time and you know, and just hear a song right now.
Yeah.
For me personally, after the fucking day that I've had, I just want to hear a song and not necessarily think about it.
Yeah.
You know,
well,
so
and that's the
so
nice
totally
thing
get
about
it.
this
Yeah.
album too, is that it's just like a fun listen, but if you want more, it's there.
Fuck yeah. I'm excited to kind of hear the rest of it. I want to see.
Yeah.
I want to hear the other tracks that, you know,
Yeah, we
might
can
have
listen
been
to it after this if you want.
Well, yeah, we're
It's in the
hanging
record
out.
Player.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. So there was Springsteen did a show, like a one-man show kind of on Broadway. And
was it just him pulling up to like a Ford factory when everybody had a job and he just started jerking off?
But and it was
was it him at a lumber mill where he showed up and everybody had a job and he just started jerking off?
They recorded it and released it on Netflix.
Okay.
It's really good. I highly recommend you watch it if you're a fan of Springsteen. I'm sure you've already watched it. If you're kind of iffy on him,
a doc or
it's a recording of the Broadway show.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet.
And so if you're kind of iffy on him, I really recommend watching this because he's bantering in between. He's singing songs, but he's also telling stories in between. And it's like a really interesting inside look on him as an actual person. And what I found really interesting was that he talks like openly about how the stories he tells and writes in his songs aren't really authentic to his experience. He said, and this is like an exact quote, he said, "I'm a fraud. I've never held an honest job in my entire life. I've never worked 9 to 5. I've never done any hard labor, and yet it is all I've ever written about." And so do you think that him knowing that, do you think that takes away from his songs? Does it take away from his authenticity? Does it make the songs less powerful?
I don't know. Like it's hard because I would like, if I'm at a bar and I hear a guy, if I'm at a show and I hear a comedian talk about industry and working and how hard it is, and Peter Grant, I'm talking to you right now. And I love that man. You know what I mean? But if he goes like too hard into the paint, I'm like, hey man, you're only like a few years into it. I've been here for a decade. And I don't even talk about it like that because my brother's been in it for 15 years. And he doesn't even talk about it like that because my father's been in it, you know, for 30 years. And he doesn't even talk about it like that because, you know, my grandfather before him, and he didn't talk about it because his dad burnt in a fucking silver refinery and these things. Like, you know what I mean? Like hard work is like in my veins. So like that's my that's the legacy of my family or whatever, is blue collar and stuff like that. I think that art and the authenticity behind it, like not necessarily, I don't think you have to have turned a wrench, right? Like if I'm gonna write like a blue collar anthem, then I don't need to see like your resume and a list of references and to see like where you've been from. I think for him to acknowledge that is important, and I think that if a guy's going to work, you know what I mean, every day, and this music is the shit to him and it gets him through that work day, then fuck yeah. You know what I mean? I think I don't, you know what I mean? Like I've never been on a job site where, you know, 40 hardworking fucking blue collar guys are all like, fuck Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, like I can't, you know, say like, cause I feel like he does it like right, and I don't feel like he's like tried to like capitalize off it. Maybe like making money off of like pickup truck commercials and not giving that, you know, I mean, back to workers or whatever, right? Like maybe, you know what I mean?
I think he is like a philanthropic guy though, and
if that's the case, then great. Like I don't know enough about him to criticize his authenticity, but I do feel like in this case with a guy like him who's like dedicated his whole career to, you know what I mean, like the idea of blue collarism, I think that like national pride in America kind of gets a little bit tied up into it, and for that reason, like it might be more of like an anthem to go to war than it would be an anthem to go to work. You know what I mean? And for that, like, you know what I mean? Like as a Canadian or whatever, it just kind of like this stuff like that. That's why it doesn't grab me.
Yeah,
but I kind of get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit different in music versus comedy, because comedy is just you there's no filter.
Of course,
you're just talking, and
Yeah.
if you're just saying lies and making up stories, there's something kind of icky about that.
Yeah.
But in
Yeah.
terms of making music, you're
Tell me lies. Tell me sweet little
telling a
lies.
story in a different way, where you're making a world. And I think it's more acceptable to do that in music. And I also think he still grew up in that, in New Jersey, around all of that.
Well, like,
too.
that's the
So
thing. I
it's
mean, I
not like
hope his
he's
dad. I
completely
hope his
removed from
dad
it.
at least worked a 9 to 5 or whatever. Like, I mean, if he grew up in like some
Yeah.
like affluent society or whatever, and it was like, wait a minute, like there's
Mhm.
a weird thing about like rich kids that like tourist
Mhm.
freedom fighters. I feel like a lot of the
Yeah.
kids, like white kids in protest lines or whatever, are just there because they're
Yeah.
like, what I mean, like I mean, there's a lot of people that I know that like share the sentiments of like, what I mean, everybody that's like fighting for freedom,
Mhm.
but also they have kids to feed and shit like that, so they're not gonna like go to the, what I mean, to like every protest line, but they'll be at like a union picket line, and what I mean, this and that or whatever, right? So
Yeah.
like I understand that. So if there's like tourism in the working class is appalling, but
Mhm.
if somebody is there making like an honest effort to try to like do the right thing for a guy that's just trying to feed his fucking family, then I'm okay with it too.
Yeah,
It's
and
hard-
I think
you know what I mean. I think I might have had like a stronger opinion of it when I was a teenager and I was a fucking idiot.
Well, and I think if you listen, like
Yeah.
his lyrics and themes, like they are authentic. Like he genuinely seems to understand. And he's not just, profiting off of other people's experiences. He wants to make a difference. He's fucking shitting on how the government treats war veterans in 1984 during Reagan
And
era.
nothing has fucking
And-
changed, so you know what I mean.
Yeah,
That's the-
so I don't really hold it against him too much.
no, I
And
mean, if
especially
he's saying
since
the right
he's
thing-
open about it.
Sure.
It's not like he's fucking hiding
If
it.
like
He's
honestly,
yeah.
like that statement, you
Mhm.
saying that he acknowledged that live
Yeah.
on stage.
It was
Makes
like
him,
he
like, you know what I mean.
literally,
I'll give him a pass. Fuck
it's
yeah. you know what I
literally
mean?
in like the first minute of the
Mhm.
thing. He's like
'Cause-
strumming his guitar.
And also the thing is,
just
he's
says it.
talented, right? Like, had he not been talented, if
Yeah,
he's from
exactly.
fucking that neighborhood, then he would be at the factory like his buddies, you know what I mean? And probably all went, right? So he's lucky that his guitar and his voice worked at the bar. They got him the deal. They got him the, or whatever, like whatever
Yeah.
his trajectory to, to being a full-time musician was. You know what I mean? And then the splash, like I get it. If you're from the neighborhood, then I think like you're okay because, you know what I mean? There's a lot of,
Mhm.
a lot of my friends give me a pass because I
Well,
can talk
yeah,
about a lot
and
of
I
shit because
think,
I'm from the neighborhood.
And I
but,
think
you know
he's
what I
like
mean?
obviously a very talented storyteller. And
Sure.
I think when you have that talent, you might feel like an obligation to tell stories, even if they're not necessarily your own personal story. If it's like adjacent stories that you grew up with, then you still feel an obligation to tell those, especially with a platform like Bruce Springsteen
Yep.
has.
I do as a comedian with a very small platform.
Yeah.
I tell stories that I feel are just fucking, either need
Yeah.
to be told or so wild that, people have to hear them and stuff like that. I don't think there's
Yeah.
anything, what I mean, wrong with that. I think that if he was claiming like, like too much,
Mhm.
if Bruce Springsteen was like, you fucking pussies during the pandemic or whatever, like, I'm
Yeah.
putting my guitar down and picking up my wrench and shit like that.
Yeah.
And then it proved that he wasn't, you know what I mean? That'd be different, but I don't feel like that's the case for this guy. So
Yeah.
I'm okay. I'm honestly, it's been a really heavy day and I'm really glad that you held down the show again. And I'm glad that I
Yeah.
got to at least be here for the end of it. So
Yeah, that's pretty much. I just had one fun fact.
what's up?
Bruce Springsteen has a minor planet named after him.
Word?
It's called 23990 Springsteen.
Yo, shout out to
Right?
all the people listening on 23990 Springsteen.
Yeah.
I thought that sounds more like an address, or,
Right?
you know what I mean?
How do you get a
Springsteen Avenue.
planet named after you?
Man, that's the problem with the
That's
fucking
all I
world is that
want.
like if he paid money, like who
Yeah.
did he pay money to? And that guy should fucking kill himself because I don't think that.
I
like,
don't know if he paid anyone money. I feel
Or
like
if
he's
somebody
just that
discovered it, if
iconic.
there was
Yeah,
I
yeah.
believe the people that name like that name these like scientific discoveries or like
Yeah.
new planets and stuff like that are the person that discovered it.
Yeah.
So if that dude just
They were probably
discovered it,
just a Springsteen fan.
just like sitting there,
Yeah.
just like I bet he was wearing cutoffs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He had his cigarettes
Call
rolled up.
this Springsteen. They're like, well, you have to put the numbers. Okay, 23990 Springsteen.
Born in the USA.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty fucking cool.
But yeah, we can wrap it up.
You wrap it up?
Yeah.
Come to King's Head Comedy on Tuesday.
Yeah.
I love you.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Grandma. Peace.